speaking about like hustling and grinding culture in China through the last like 20, 25 years, when China's economy was rising crazy, is it still this spirit? Because like people say like Chinese economy is slowing down. Is this you still feel like this energy as you've seen like 20 years ago?
No, the energy levels have certainly dropped off, and it's understandable given that if you look at the headlines, right? The Chinese economy is slowing, and there's no question about that. What I find fascinating, however, is very rarely do you actually encounter the question of why. Like, why is the Chinese economy not
Mm,
as dynamic as it once was? The simplistic answers are always, oh, the property market, too much investment there, or there's been too much infrastructure spending and what have you. And those are certainly accurate. But the one, I think, critical piece that's been missing from the overall analysis has been what the policymakers in Beijing, especially when Xi Jinping came into power back in 2011, 2012, what the approach taken there was. And not to get too deep into politics, but you've seen, I'm sure, a ton of headlines talking about how Xi Jinping is now emperor for life, and that he doesn't care about the people or care about the economy. I completely disagree with that. And the reason why I say that is you've heard of recency bias, right?
mhm.
There's also a concept called primacy bias, which is you have a tendency of looking back in time at a point and believe, oh, that was fantastic. That was the best period of time. And you'll see this with a lot of the individuals that are commenting on China today, and they'll say, back in 2010, that was the best time for China. There are all the opportunities, all the energy, and an absolutely accurate assessment. What is missed, however, is the fact that it was not sustainable, and there was an insane amount of investment across the board. Property was at a point where there was no way that the price rises were going to be able to continue. So watching when Xi Jinping came into power, and he could have, if he wanted to, done his 2 5-year terms, sailed through for 10 years, and said, I'm good, and left the problems to whoever came next. And instead, I think the choices that he made was to essentially just recalibrate the economy. And he made a very famous statement back in 2017 that the Chinese policy was going to center on an economic model that was about quality growth as opposed to growth at all costs. Now, the downside to all that is you have a restructuring that's required, a deleveraging that's required, and all of the steps that are needed to go down this path mean your economic prospects are going to diminish at least for a short period of time. And that's what's been going on, I would say, since 2017, 2018. There's been progress, but I will not necessarily come out and say, without a doubt, this is working. It's going to be fine. It still remains unclear. But let me finish this thought with the final comment. In the entire time that I've been here, I can't count how many predictions have been made about China's collapse. The economic collapse has been predicted going all the way back to 2000, in fact. It has not occurred. I think it is in the best interest for those that are looking at the Chinese outlook to give the benefit of the doubt to the policymakers, because up to this point, they have been able to demonstrate a degree of capability to deliver. Now, until that is shown to be in error, and that the support that should be provided should not be, I think you have to give the benefit of the doubt to the policymakers. And they've continued to try and move forward and restructure the economy, and we'll see how it plays out. China was at peak pessimism about a year ago, summer of
Mm,
24.
mm,
The economy was uncertain, really uncertain. A lot of people that I talked to, were concerned. There has been a 180-degree pivot in the last 6 7 months. Um, a real a real kind of renaissance of sorts. Not that the economy has improved materially. There's, like I said, there's still headwinds without question. But when I was talking before about Red Note and the TikTok refugees, that was a point of pride for the Chinese. They kind of were like, "Wow, that's look, they're coming and using our platform." DeepSeek, a point of pride with the Chinese. Super interesting this coming weekend. Have you heard of a Chinese movie called Nujia 2? It's a cartoon.
The rings the bell. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's a cartoon. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know this one.
This movie came out, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. It's done $2 billion in revenue in China alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's one I remember.
And and by the way, it is a phenomenal movie. And I encourage everybody to go see it, but I also encourage everybody to go first watch Nujia, the original, Nujia 1 beforehand. The story doesn't make sense without it. But the reason I bring it up is it was another sort of a soft power development that got the Chinese excited. Like, wow, we're really feeling positive about the direction things are going. It's ephemeral. It's not something like I have money in my pocket or I have a new job. It's a feeling of national worth, not nationalism, but national worth. And it's had a positive impact as I can see it in the engagements and conversations I've had with the Chinese. So yeah, things are moving in a positive direction.